Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. Depends if you're new here or not. Now, this situation I have watched first from Calamarchi's channel, but don't get me wrong, a lot of people are talking about this. Even political channels that I watch are talking about the situation. It has absolutely blown up with the first original video of him talking about the situation, which is what we're looking at now, getting 15 million views. Basically, this guy had talked about how he had a one-night stand with one of his friends and he ends up agreeing to get her pregnant and kind of like be a surrogate for her. She didn't want to go to a sperm bank. She didn't want to do the whole shebang. She wanted no strings attached basically, and told him that, hey, if you could just help me conceive a baby, you don't have to do anything with the kid. You know, I just want to have a baby. I don't want to go through the whole process. And he agreed to help her. Now, this situation has, as Mark Calamarchi said, there's just a lot of moving chess pieces. There's a lot of people responding and talking about the situation, and a lot of people are either personally involved or indirectly involved with the situation, including the girl's sister, cousin, who ended up speaking out about the situation. But not just that, but Nurse Hadley. Okay, I don't know if y'all are familiar with who she is, but she has 2 million followers on TikTok and over 600,000 here on YouTube. I'm going to play a quick clip of her because I know as soon as y'all see it, y'all are probably like, hey, I've seen this before.
Margie. Hey honey, I got a fresh pot brewing for you. I am fine, you do not have to do that. Please, it's the smallest thing I can do in return for you caring for me. Well, thank you. Time for coffee. Thank you. Anything new with you? Actually, my granddaughter just graduated college. I'm so proud. That's wonderful.
Hey babe, you want some coffee?
No thanks, it's Tuesday.
What does that mean?
On Tuesdays, I have coffee with my first patient of the day. Miss Margie. Thank you, I needed this. Guess who's gonna be a grandmother? That's so exciting. Time of death, 17:45. Let's see who I've got on this beautiful Tuesday. Can I get a tall caramel macchiato?
Yeah, it involves Nurse Hadley, and this whole situation is just so absolutely scandalous that it is bizarre. Anyways, Nurse Hadley does play a role in this situation because she ends up coming out recently and saying that this man who agreed to get this woman pregnant with no strings attached is now her boyfriend. So let's get right into the drama.
This is the story of me agreeing to get an older woman pregnant and then her trying to ruin my life. When I was 23, I had a one-night stand with a girl from my hometown named Maria. We both knew it was nothing more than that, and we didn't speak after. Several months later, I received a text from her saying that she hadn't been lucky in love and she wanted a baby before it was too late. So she asked if I would get her pregnant and I wouldn't have to bear any responsibility, like a sperm donor. I considered it and I first thought no, but after some time to think about it, I thought it'd be the right thing to do for someone struggling.
Now, I understand the whole trying to help somebody in need situation. I mean, after all, that's literally what surrogates are for in this type of scenario. But here's where it got really messy, is that after agreeing to get her pregnant and have that no strings attached, she invited them to the baby shower, him and his family. She invited them to meals, outings, and saying there's no strings attached and then bringing in the family to the baby shower, it just definitely seems like she wanted some form of attachment. And it seems like she got her wish and got that attachment because she ended up saying she wanted him to be in her life and the baby's life, and his family even at that point was like, hey, like, I really think you should be in the baby's life. And remind you, this was supposed to be a surrogate situation. Usually the surrogates don't partake in the child's life, but to each their own. And if he wanted to be in the child's life, which he said the family wanted him to, and Maria, the mom in the case, really wanted him to, so he agreed to it. Here's where it gets even more messy, because while he agreed to be in the baby's life without actually being with the mom, y'all, let's take a look at these text messages.
After our daughter was born, Maria wanted us to be together and be a family, and when I said I didn't want to do that, she wouldn't let me see my daughter.
Now, these texts are them going back and forth, and this is when she said, sorry if I seem moody, I just had the shittiest, I can assume she said day, and then she ended up saying, I want to try to make it work with us being a family, can we do that? Then she said, I want to be with you, Brett, I hate when you leave us, I just need you to say something or how you feel about that. And he ends up responding and saying, I'm sorry, but that isn't what I want to do. Now, I don't think they ever really sat down and did like a contract, because if they did sit down and do a contract prior to actually having the baby and him being the surrogate, I don't think we'd have this drama that's been happening. So needless to say, I really don't think there was ever a contract. In fact, as we get further down the line in this video, y'all are going to see he's actually taking her to court, saying that she is ruining his life. Now, after him saying, look, we basically agreed to just be friends and civil, and I'll be a part of the baby's life, she decided, after she texted him trying to be with him and he said, no, that's not what I want to do, she decided to tell him, well, if you don't want to be with me, you just can't see your daughter anymore. And they had to kind of work out an agreement to where he would be able to see her. I think Callum said in his video it was like once a month. And the situation is very unfortunate because he even stated that in the very first place of him doing the surrogacy for her and kind of being a sperm donor, he said he just wanted to do it to help her. And while she was pregnant, he ended up saying how she was moving around, and he ended up having an Airbnb that he owned that he let her stay at, basically rent-free till she can get it together. Now, he ended up giving some examples of how she basically withheld the child from him. And again, this is a very messy situation because there was never really a contract. He didn't think there was going to be strings attached, and then his family and the mom, Maria, ended up kind of pushing him to being hands-on and seeing the kid and being a part of its life. So they agreed to that custody arrangement of just one weekend a month after he said he didn't want to be with her. He ends up giving this example of this is one of the times that she withheld the child from him because he didn't want to see the mom, so she said, well, you can't see the baby.
When our daughter was being baptized, I drove a 14-hour round trip from Nashville to attend. And because I didn't want to see Maria the night before, she didn't allow me to come to the baptism at all. Soon after this, she served me with child support, saying that our original contract wasn't valid because our daughter didn't have a social security number yet. And I didn't fight her on it. I didn't have the time. I was living away. I ended up paying her $10,000 up front and $750 a month. I was able to move home soon after that, and I began seeing our daughter regularly.
Now, despite all the bumps in the road, he did say that they did end up coming to an agreement. He decided on kind of a split custody situation where he would see the child once on the weekend throughout the month, and he started paying child support, giving her $10,000 down and then $750 a month. And he said after this situation, everything started to go smooth, but he got a girlfriend, and this is when everything kind of started to go back downhill.
Going really well until I got a girlfriend. Even though she had a boyfriend who was regularly around our daughter, she said that my girlfriend couldn't be around our daughter. I was able to get our daughter for an afternoon, and Maria asked what I was doing. I told her that I was with my girlfriend and we were at Lowe's together. She freaked out. I said I'd bring her daughter back to her as soon as we were done, but instead Maria drove to Lowe's, apparently called my dad, and was running up and down the aisle screaming. I don't know what actually happened, but she was freaking out, just blowing up my phone, thinking she was in danger. And keep in mind, my girlfriend is a mom as well as a nurse. Our daughter was never in any danger.
Now, while he did not specifically say his girlfriend's name in this case at the time, this is kind of where Nurse Hadley starts to have involvement. Now, he was saying that even though she has a boyfriend now and he's regularly in the picture and around the daughter, she had a huge issue with him getting a new girlfriend and having that new girlfriend around the daughter. And again, he really iterated the fact that she's a mom herself and a nurse, so it's not like the child is in any type of like immediate danger or a sketchy scenario. It's pretty much just a normal family. And given the dislike and distrust that Maria ended up having for Nurse Hadley, he ended up saying, look, we need to arrange a time, y'all can sit down together, go to tea, lunch, dinner, I don't care, get to know each other so that you don't feel so bad or upset whenever she is around the baby. Now, even though he tried to get Maria and Nurse Hadley together to kind of get to know each other a little bit better so Maria would feel more comfortable with Hadley being around the baby, she denied this, and not just that, but she took to social media, started calling Nurse Hadley out of name, talking badly of her, and calling him a deadbeat dad.
Maria then made a public post saying that I was a deadbeat dad and that I hadn't seen our daughter in weeks. Here I am with our daughter just a few days prior to this post.
He ended up including these screenshots as well of Maria basically arguing with his grandmother, that poor woman, over the situation. This is one of those videos where the situation doesn't really get better, it just continues to get more and more messy, and it's about to get more messy now. He ended up saying that as time progressed after this Facebook situation happened, he found out the really sad news that he wasn't even the dad.
They found out that our daughter isn't mine. I don't know who the dad is, but I've had 2 paternity tests done, and they both say this. I believed Maria when she told me that I was the only possible father. The situation was weird, but I was always happy to be a dad. I knew that Maria already knew she was pregnant. She had to have when she asked me to get her pregnant. I didn't think that was something that someone would lie about to another human being.
Now, basically, he said he came to this conclusion after he took 2 at-home paternity tests, and both of them came up that he wasn't the biological father. Maria, though, in a minute, the mom in the situation, is going to be responding and giving her side of the story. And like I said, it's 2 completely different versions being told by him and her. So he is planning on taking her to court because in this upload, he did say, "I'll see you in court." So whenever they do go to court, I'm sure that they're both going to be posting videos giving the updates of the situation. I assume he's wanting to take her to court because, like he said, whenever she said he was the father and the whole situation happened with her wanting child support from him, he did say that he gave this woman $10,000, not just that, but he's been paying $750 a month in child support on top of that $10,000 that he gave her initially, and he even let her stay in those Airbnbs that he owned for free while she was kind of figuring shit out. Here's where it gets even more messy. I told y'all it's just going to keep getting messier and messier. There's not going to be a happy ending right now. And somebody ended up going to his comment section and said, "Whoa, I didn't expect that last part," talking about him not being the father, and said, "Do you think she's doing this to other fathers? That poor little girl." He ended up responding, even doing the hashtag baby reindeer. And if y'all don't know baby reindeer, that in itself is an entirely crazy situation. If y'all want me to cover that, let me know and I can dive into it. But he said, "I just found out that she did something similar. Hashtag baby reindeer." Now, somebody else in his comment section ended up asking him as well, saying like, "Hey, is there a way that you can prove from the jump that she knew that you weren't the father?" And he ended up responding and said, "A friend of hers just gave me all the proof I needed." Now, the comment section is very much on his side, on Brett's side of the situation right now, and he ended up going on to talk about a paternity test, and Maria was like, "Hey, that don't even make sense because the dates don't match up, da da da." And we're going to be getting into that in a minute because we're actually going to be diving into her response.
Before you all start believing his shit, there's just a few things that I want you to take into consideration. Is first, the collection date was August 10th, 2024. Well, I had my daughter on August 10th, 2024.
All right, if y'all hear a noise in the background, my washer just hit the spin cycle. There's nothing I can do about it. But this is her way of trying to prove basically that he knew he wasn't the father to an extent, because he was saying that that's the date he got the paternity test done. She's like, "Well, that's the date my daughter was born, so that doesn't make sense for him to say that he doesn't know if the dates were aligned with the date that the daughter was born. So how would he not know that he's the father if that's when the paternity tests were done?" Now, here's where it starts to get, dare I say, spicy, because there's a TikToker named Jenna Hamilton who ended up tagging another TikToker who covers dramas that are going on and blowing up, and she ended up tagging the Cliff Notes girl over on TikTok so that they can look at the situation and cover the situation. And then Jenna Hamilton ended up getting a call from Nurse Hadley, and keep in mind, Nurse Hadley never came out as being in a public relationship with Brett up until this point, and a lot of people are speculating maybe it's because he's starting to get millions upon millions of views on the situation. Like I said, that first video went viral with over 15 million views, and all the follow-ups have been getting up to at least 3 million. So we're going to be taking a look at what Jenna Hamilton had to say, and we're going to be going off of that. So let's get right into it. I just want to say before we get into the response that Jenna's actually playing my favorite song in the background of her response, and it made me so happy.
Tag my friend, the Cliff Notes gal, because she likes to cover very drama big things on the internet. And I say this one is wild. Approximately 34 seconds after that happens, I get a FaceTime call. You might recognize who from. Nurse Hadley. And she calls me about 11 o'clock last night. And I was like, "Hey girl, what you doing?" And she said, "I have someone here that I think you might recognize." She pans over, and wouldn't you know it, this man is sitting next to her.
Now, why this is important is because Jenna actually said that she recognized Brett but couldn't really place her finger on where she met him at before. And here it was at, I think, an event with Nurse Hadley, and he was with Nurse Hadley at this event.
The fact that he is currently dating just a beautiful human as Hadley, I feel like gives credence to everything that he was saying. Like when I met him, we talked about that he had a daughter, but I didn't know all that. So they have officially hard launched on the internet. And I did say, the plot thickens.
The plot does thicken and it gets really bizarre around this point. Even though this whole situation has been bizarre up to this point, now is when it starts to get, like I said, a little extra spicy. And this is whenever we have this YouTuber Michelle Livu, or Livy, like Michelle, coming in. And this is actually Maria's cousin. And as I said at the beginning of the video, it's important to remember that Nurse Hadley didn't hard launch this relationship with Brett until after the situation started to blow up. Anyways, Michelle was very opinionated about the situation. She had a lot she wanted to say about it, and the Cliff Notes gal on TikTok is the one who actually did acquire these screenshots in the first place. So we're going to be diving into that. Michelle ended up posting this and said, an at-home paternity test without a third party is completely unacceptable. Did you know his girlfriend is a nurse who lost custody of all her kids? It's giving they tampered with the test. Yeah, he conveniently left that part out. These are wild allegations and accusations. I don't know which one to call it right now. It's crazy. So she's basically saying they did this paternity test without a third party because they tampered with the results. That's crazy. But then to say that Nurse Hadley lost custody of all her kids, which later was proven to not be true at all, is even more crazy. Now, what makes those allegations, in my opinion, extremely crazy to say is because her saying him and Nurse Hadley tampered with the test results of that paternity test, but he's the one taking Maria to court, it's just, that would really just kick him in the ass at the end of the day. I feel like, why would you tamper with the paternity results if you're planning to take her to court over those paternity results? I just don't get it. Anyways, Michelle ended up going on to say he exploited his own child for views. You know what we call that in Hollywood, selling his soul. He shows no remorse for putting a mother and daughter in danger as long as he lines his pockets. Not only is he a fraud, but his girlfriend is the little mastermind. She's exactly like Gone Girl. I can't wait for people to see how this truly, or to see just how truly evil that they are. Now, this is whenever Michelle starts to give me recycling bin vibes because it's getting a little bit trashy. Now she wraps up the statement by saying, Beavis, tell your dusty ass hoe to get out of my DMs and stay in her lane because if I see her out, it's on sight. I don't play about my family. Now Michelle, she just gets even more messy because she backtracked on what she originally posted, saying that Hadley lost her children, and then said, let me clarify, Hadley didn't lose custody of her kids. She gave her son to her ex-husband because he has a learning disability. I don't know about y'all, but I could never give my child away. It's tough for me to sympathize with her because she's a hypocrite. She doesn't want false information spread, yet she condones Brett's behavior. Instead of reaching out to Maria about the at-home paternity test results, Brett took it to social media. She continues to say, Maria found out just like the rest of us did yesterday. Can you imagine checking your phone and seeing hundreds of messages and videos of your baby daddy claiming he didn't know you and that it was just a one-night stand? He painted a narrative that made my cousin look like a crazy, malicious stalker. I don't know about y'all, but just me personally, I can't wrap my head around how he figured it would be okay to not even message the woman about the situation. Be like, hey, I just realized that this isn't really my kid. I just did these paternity tests, so what's going on? Instead of messaging her, which he might have figured, oh, well, I just plan to take her to court, so why would I message her and give her room to lie or something if she's already been lying? That's the only thing I can really wrap my head around. Maybe that's why he didn't want to communicate it with her. If he assumed that she was already lying, why reach out if she's just going to lie some more? Just take her to court and get it figured out there. But if that's the case as well, and he was worried about her lying to him, why would he take it to social media where she can just make response videos and continue to lie? Again, just if that's the case. Now in the second part of this thing, she ended up saying, I'm here to defend my cousin because she doesn't deserve any of this hate. If you only knew what a deadbeat Brett truly is, he doesn't even pay child support. That's crazy as well. Another crazy accusation. I don't know if it's true or not, but like I said, when they go to court, we're going to figure it all out. Anyways, she ended up saying, if only you knew what a deadbeat Brett truly is, he doesn't even pay child support. When Maria met Brett, he didn't have a job, and Maria has always been the breadwinner. Brett, you need to tell the viewers about the time you kidnapped your daughter from daycare without Maria's knowledge and didn't answer your phone for hours. Then you told her to meet you at Lowe's to get the kid. Yet you accused her of stalking you. Which, again, if that's the case of that situation he talked about with Lowe's, how he just took his daughter to Lowe's with Hadley, then Maria was freaking out about it. He did make it seem like she was freaking out about the fact that he was with Hadley, when it could have been the fact that he took the daughter from daycare without saying shit to her and not even answering the phone. Anyways, Michelle ended up wrapping this up by saying, I believe Nurse Hadley tampered with the 2 tests without Brett's knowledge. Now, she continued on posting away. It's getting really crazy at this point. She said, I want to clarify based on reliable sources that Brett's girlfriend did not lose custody of her kids. Her ex-husband has one of her children, but I'm not privy of the reasons why. And I'm certainly not here to drag any kids into this, which is bizarre because you've been doing that. And then she ended up saying, we must prioritize protecting our children. With that said, in the Brett versus Maria situation, let's please keep the child out of it. She does not deserve any death threats, which obviously you should not be sending anybody death threats. Anyway, she wrapped up these rants on Instagram by saying, I have a platform for a reason and I intend to use it responsibly. I'm willing to take accountability if I'm wrong. All the information I've shared comes from reliable sources, social media investigations, and my own observations. I stand by every word. I believe the 2 tests were tampered with. That's my opinion. And it falls under freedom of speech. Love it or hate it, do what you wish, and have a blessed day, which is just very bizarre. Now, I told y'all there's a lot of people who are invested in this story, and there's another TikToker called Mama Drama who ended up finding photos of Brett and Maria together, pointing out inconsistencies, saying it doesn't seem like they were really a one-night stand. And there's even a photo of him holding something that says Brett loves Maria, and it goes back to 2020. So there's 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. They've known each other, and it doesn't seem like it was really a one-night stand situation. I don't know, though, y'all, this whole situation is totally bizarre, but Nurse Hadley ended up responding to this as well, and this is what she had to say. Anyways, Nurse Hadley ended up saying, haha, this showed up on my For You page as the girlfriend and nurse. Yes, that's what happened. I said, please get a DNA test. These dates weren't adding up. We were still shocked by the results, though. Now, there was one thing that Brett did that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm assuming that his daughter's name is Love, or her middle name is Love. I'm not sure. But he ended up getting a tattoo of the daughter's, either middle name or first name, on his arm, that Love, and when he found out that it wasn't his baby, he ended up putting a line through the name, like just crossing it out. This is so unfortunate because the drama that is created by these parents, whether Brett's in the wrong or Maria's in the wrong, like I said, when they go to court, we're going to figure out a lot more about the situation, and I'm dead ass certain that they're going to be posting updates about it as well. But the child didn't do this. The child has nothing to do with the situation. The child just so happened to be born, and it turns out it might not be Brett's kid, but like I said, they're going to be going to court for that situation. But I feel like him crossing out the child's name is just, it don't sit right with me. You know, I feel like if he didn't want that tattoo there anymore, he should have just went and had it removed. The whole crossing out the kid's name is just an ick for me, you know. And it also bothers me because whether it was proved to not be his daughter, and if it does turn out to not be his daughter, he already played the role as the father, so it's just, how are you going to throw that away, you know? That's going to be kind of hard to walk away from, just in my opinion. If I would raise a kid as it's mine, even if it came out to not be my kid, you know, I already took on that role of the parent for the child, so I don't know how I'd feel about just walking away from it, even if it wasn't my child, but I don't know, that's just me, y'all. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about this in the comment section. And I know there's going to be an update for this. There might even be an update now for the situation. I have not been back on TikTok or seen anybody else posting about it, but as soon as there is an update, I will be updating it here. So let me know what y'all thought about this situation, like I said, in the comment section down below. What do y'all think? I know this has been one messy ass situation, so leave me timestamps even if you have to update your thoughts and opinions. But it's so bizarre. And I will catch y'all in the next damn video.